So, here we are, almost the end of the road. Do you feel defeated, maybe? Do you feel like 2023 was just about space and time utilizing you as their personal punching bag? Do you feel depression lurking in, maybe? Well, same here, man. You're not alone. Me making this video is literally what I think the most canonical event for me. And not just me, but my future self too. And it's basically what's going to save my future self, in my opinion. That's how serious I'm taking this. And hopefully it can help your future self as well. So follow me on the completion of this task of mine, which is coming back to my truest path, self-development, and fully committing to it. And as a byproduct, being able to finally, after almost a decade, see depression differently from another perspective and basically cure it. But we'll dive deeper into that later on in the video. My aim is to impact civilization with my art, with my music, with my writing. And I believe that the best way of doing that is not just creating the art and putting it out there, but also sharing the journey with you guys, with the internet, with anybody that's watching this video right now. Anybody that watched my previous videos or my music videos. Every single person counts in terms of making an impact. So I hope you enjoy this. It's life, man. Ups and downs, trials and tribulations. And believe me, the 2024 patch will be insane. So stay tuned. And not just till the end of the video, but hit that subscribe button, that bell, all that jazz, and follow me on the journey. This is the Artist Quest Line, and I'm Nico Bellic. Okay, this video is not just me coming back to my creative path, but basically following up on my previous video of this kind. Because if you go to my channel, there's a mix. And it will always be like that because I'm an artist and I strongly believe that seeking my curiosities and the things that actually spark interest in me, my mind, my brain, my soul, are the ones that I should pursue. And I will be sharing my journey within every single thing that I pursue so that you guys can extract something positive and I can hold myself accountable in the process of becoming who I want to become. So if you haven't watched my first video that is like on this format, me talking directly to you guys through a camera, go watch it. I'm going to leave the link below the title of this video in the description box. It's going to be the first link, and I strongly recommend that you go watch it. It's very substantial. It might help you like kickstart your process of self-development, getting rid of biases and just seeking a more balanced life that allows you to fully turn into the person that you want to become and develop as a man or as a woman. So since the day that I decided to fully quit smoking weed and I understood consciously the negative impact that it was having on my life, basically my life entered this portion that it was all about mini quests and side episodes, like had nothing to do with who I actually wanted to become, or that's what I thought though. It has been the best decision I've made in my entire life. 26 years of age, almost 27. Shout out your boy. January 18th is my birthday, so we're getting close. But yeah, it allowed me to gain clarity. Now, what do I mean by clarity? I mean being able to refocus my attention and maybe zoom out a little bit as to where I was in life. It was literally the key for me to unlock self-awareness and understand and consciously solidify in my mind what are the things that propel me forward and what are the things that hold me down in my self-development as a man, as an artist, as a producer, songwriter, copywriter, whatever you can think of that comprises my true identity. I still had to be honest with myself, and right now to you guys too, and made a lot of missteps, just like any other human, man. But in this case, it left me right now at this point in life where I look at life as a video game, and I feel like at this point in the game, I have to start from scratch. Like all the progress I made, all the level up sessions, all the levels that I had, reached, all the walls that I had broken, the ceilings, bad habits, vices. All of that progress was gone. That's what I felt up until I decided to make this video, got back to writing. But yeah, and it's not until now literally sitting in front of this camera that I understand that it's pretty normal to feel like you're starting from scratch, to feel like you lost all the progress that you've made in life, self-development, maybe your entrepreneurship endeavors, your writing endeavors, social media growth, because you hit plateaus. Or you make a mistake, you go back to a bad habit, that all that stacking up of chips that you had went down in one sweep. Papi, en serio? Just gotta wait for my landlord to vacuum for the 200th time today. I think we're good. Hopefully we are. But yeah, that feeling of like having to start from scratch, I knew I had to transform it. I couldn't stay there. I had to start shifting my view on it. And literally I'll be diving deep into what I mean with this transformation of feeling like you're back to square one. So writing the script for this YouTube video, writing the newsletter article, everything, the whole jazz has given me the change in perspective. I'm not starting from scratch. I'm starting from where I left off. And that to me was insane to realize, because even though I made mistakes in my life, went into this spiral down after the weed video, after 4 months after the weed video, my life went into a spiral, basically around July. It went downhill. And now I realize that even though that happened, I still have those 4 months where I don't want to say I was at my peak, but it really felt like it, because I was so disciplined. It's been the period of time in my life where I've been the most disciplined, where I've seen the most progress in every single creative endeavor that I engaged in. I was close to dropping my entire album. I did a YouTube video that hit 22,000 views on YouTube, more than 1,000 likes, more than 500 comments, or more than 300, I don't remember right now, but something that had never happened to me. And on a video that was actually impactful. I was getting comments and messages from people that were like, yo, you actually helped me. You actually made an impact on the way I see marijuana, on the way that I like my relationship with it, and with other vices even. So that to me was very impactful. And I have to be grateful for that. I have to be grateful for the fact that I was able to create that, for the fact that I was able to experience those 4 months of delayed gratification, dopamine hits coming only from writing, posting, working out, walking without a phone, in nature. Like, I'm saying all of this because in my mind right now, it's like that version of me already exists. And I mean, you could say it's a matter of coming back to that version. Even I told myself that, like, dude, it's just a matter of going back to that. You have the formulas, you have the systems, you have everything, because you already solidified them. You know, it was 4 months of nonstop, like almost 5. I think it was 5 months of nonstop, almost half a year of nonstop working on yourself. So it's not a matter of going back to that, right? Because I strongly believe that is a wrong way to view things and life in general. Because you shall never go back to anything. You should always strive to move forward. Always, no matter what. So it's not about like going to rescue this version of myself. That version of myself lives within me. I just have to wake it up again and just adapt it to my version of today, literally today, without including whatever is that I have anxiety for in the future or whatever makes me sad from the past. Just today, and adapt it to today, because in 5 months my life has changed. I'm a different person. I've been through a hell of emotional experiences, physical experiences that I will be touching on later on in this video. Literally a roller coaster of emotions and episodes in 5 months that had me going like, shit, I'm different now. I'm a completely different person. So I don't have to go back to who I was, not even if that was my peak. I just have to reignite that flame, and it will put itself back together. So yeah, you could say that 2023 for me has been the most canonical period of time within the self-development of my character in this crazy ass video game called life. And believe me, now the game is about to kick in to fifth gear, because gaining clarity, self-understanding, deeply knowing yourself, and being able to confront your demons head on, there's a price to pay for that, because that's an experience that will transform you and make you so much better that there's something that you have to like sacrifice. There's something that you have to go through, I'm telling you. And this is not a physical price that you have to pay. It's literally, and by far mostly, a spiritual price that you have to pay. A deep, introspective, psychological, soulful price that you have to pay. And I knew the price that I was paying to achieve this moment in life. Yes, part of this process of me coming back to this path, to my truest version, to the true path of self-development that I want to walk, is talking about this topic that has followed me for years, man. It's been over a decade, and I want to charge it head on and maybe help somebody along the way that is a couple steps behind me, basically understanding and moving on from depression. I literally want to do proper storytelling of my experience and what I've been through and what I will go through down the line, which will be basically my process of creating content, just sharing my experiences and like how I'm navigating self-development as an artist, as a human being, as all the pillars that literally hold my identity. And maybe helping you watching this video not make the same mistakes that I made, you know? And purely because I was not able to control my emotions and my thoughts. And I was spiraling into depression and deeper levels of depression. So I don't want that for you. So after 3 months of being sober, that's when I realized, I was journaling and I realized that my biggest problem was not weed per se. My biggest problem was not procrastination or depression itself. My biggest problem was that I was not completely connected to my truest self. I was not walking that path that I knew was taking me to who I wanted to be. I always felt that I was taking detour after detour, and I was just seeing the bigger picture far and far and far and far away every single day, because I was trying to get a hold of reality and understand it by adopting things that I saw online, for example, or from people around me, like trying to make money online, but not creating content, but having an agency, or turning into a copywriter, or I don't know, doing drop shipping or Amazon FBA. All these things that I really didn't connect with. I was not digging deep. I was barely scratching the surface. I had to restructure who I was as a person, more than just creating good habits and tracking them and having a calendar and doing all these small things that really compound to bigger things. But there are also big things that you have to do to your core, to your soul, to your spirit. I knew I needed to transform myself. I have to turn into a completely different person so that my personality could have that shift from within and not from without. And I strongly believe that this is something that every human being should go at least once in their lifetime. Completely restructuring yourself. I was listening to a podcast today on Alchemy. I'm going to leave a link to that podcast below because it's one of my favorite ones. It's really intricate, the way the topics that the guy in the podcast talks about. They're really like soulful psychology. There's a lot of psychology there. They discuss archetypes, psychiatry, and spirituality. And today the episode was about alchemy. It was actually not today's episode. It was an old episode, but I was just browsing. I was going to take a 1 hour walk and I wanted to listen to something that was new to me. It's not like alchemy is new to me. I'm not an alchemist, but I've read about alchemy. The Alchemist is my favorite book of all time by Paulo Coelho. So I was drawn to the topic like naturally. So I clicked on it, played it. And it was about that. Like, it was about alchemy overall and explaining it historically, spiritually, from the perspective of psychology with Carl Jung's deep dive in his final years of life, taking a deep dive into alchemy. But there was this concept that it was discussed in the podcast, and it was about how the ultimate goal of a alchemist is being able to transform lead into gold and find that, like the philosopher's stone, that is not actually a stone, it's just the source of eternal life and not aging and just, like connecting directly to the universe. And in order to do so, you have to break down matter. Like, you have to break down the atoms of lead and then turn them into gold. And that concept to me was mind blown, because there were also the analogies like what gold was viewed as within alchemy as like the true ascension and the true realization of self, of the being. In order to achieve that, you have to break yourself down into pieces and literally put yourself back on, like build yourself back up piece by piece. Literally breaking matter and creating something new. So that's when it clicked for me. I had to go through an experience that was so life-changing, new experiences that was so impactful and took me out of my comfort zone so hard that I was going to be able to evolve. That was my thought process. My biggest dreams have always been related to making music, creating content like this, becoming a better producer, songwriter, content creator every single day. And on top of that, the way I flow the best is in English, man. The way I write the best is in English. Like, my native language is Spanish. I was born in Colombia. But I flow the best in English, dog. So with that, I was like, I have to get out of Colombia. Like, I have to get out of Colombia. And while I was thinking that and picturing myself moving out, I came to this huge realization. And I always told myself, like, my first love was music. But I was mistaken. I was looking at it backward. I thought my first love was music and then writing. It was the other way around. My first love is writing, and then comes music. I love writing because the way I fell in love with music was not even playing instruments or learning music theory, was writing songs. So the core of my soul, like my identity, is writing. So I said to myself, fuck it, I have to move to the United States, learn, grow, become a better artist, become a better human being, and live life in order to have better experiences that I can turn into content to impact the lives of our species, our civilization, our society, however you want to look at it. Because I know what is in store for me if I just laser focus. So that was the life-changing decision. That was the transformation process. I decided to move countries. And believe it or not, it made me realize before I took that leap that there was a lot that I had to work on in terms of my personality, because I tend to run. And I'm being completely honest with you. This was a decision that I took in a rush. I was running away from not being fulfilled, from the breakup with my ex. I was running because I literally thought about moving on a Friday and I was in Miami on a Monday. So that was basically the major topic that I wanted to touch on, like depression and how I'm viewing depression right now. But it expands into the piece of the story that I want to tell you guys, which is me moving to Miami. Right now, I'm in Miami. It's been 5 months since I moved here, and I want to reflect on it because depression hit me again here, not back in Colombia. Because even though I was feeling not fulfilled and with a huge breakup, like carrying that, I still was focused. But here, depression turned into my worst enemy. It came back, crawled back in, and took over my life. I got here with a job, a corporate job. I was going to work at a bank. I worked at a bank, private equity bank, MCAs, merchant cash advances, bunch of boring stuff. But my 4+ years on sales experience and cold calling opened that door for me. And my best friend working at the time at that bank also vouched for me, but boom. The door was open in a weekend and I was there by Monday. Literally. I got to Miami on a Monday and then Tuesday I was at the office. But I literally entered this cycle of like a routine that was not mine. I was living within my best friend's routine because he got me that job. I paid a membership at his gym and I didn't have a car or anything. For you guys that are out here in Florida or have been here in Florida, if you don't have a car in Miami, you're basically stuck. There's no subway, there's no metro, there's nothing. You must have a vehicle. And at the time, I didn't have the means to do that, to buy a car or to get something to move around. So I was basically stuck with my friend. And it's not a bad thing because all the things he was doing for me were out of love. And he's like my brother. I will die for him. But regardless of that, I was feeling like I was living the exact same life I had in Colombia, but in a different country with a more like 300x more expensive lifestyle and real estate and rent and groceries. Everything was 300x more expensive. But at the end of the day, I was doing the same thing. I was going to the bank, going to the gym, going to sleep, rinse and repeat. And my friend at the time, actually, after a month and a half of working at that bank, almost 2 months, we talked and he was like, I feel the exact same thing, bro. Like, literally, let's just get the fuck out of here. Like, let's just go pursue what we truly want to do. In his case, was pursuing a job at a better company with a contract, 401k, the whole 9 yards. I did not want that for myself. I want this right now, talking to you guys through this camera. So I was like, let's quit. And the next day, we quit the bank. So that's when life turned into a turmoil for me, man. That's when it all went downhill. After that, I had to find a means to pay the rent, get some food, all of that. The basics for living. And in order to do so, I had to do this crazy ass jobs. Like, I'm telling you, I had to... Seriously? This guy vacuums the same fucking spot like 100 times per second. So yeah, I was basically doing all of these jobs that I never thought I'd be doing. Crazy stuff. I never thought I'd be doing the things that I did, but I'm so proud that I did them because I met all types of people, all kinds of energies around them, stories of like life stories that completely changed my perspective on the world and how people navigate their lives, navigate this world that we all live in, this fucking video game simulation, however you want to call it. And I knew I had to step up. I was basically just living paycheck to paycheck to survive. I was on survival mode, literally. I was not even making time for my music, my creative content, my writing at all. So not being able to allocate some time, at least a little bit, to the things that truly made up who I am as a person took me back to square one. I was depressed, very, very much depressed. And I also worked at a restaurant for a month and a half, and they ended up not paying me. They owe me money till these days. That took me even deeper into a rabbit hole of depression because I was like, what is happening with my time right now? I literally just took a month and a half of my time, squashed it in a paper ball, threw it in the garbage. So yeah, back to the drawing board. Because at that point I was done. I felt like there was nothing else for me to do but just die. And at this point, I started making mistakes. I relapsed on my vices. Yes, I smoked a joint. I'm not proud of it, to be honest. Not proud at all. It actually makes me feel like shit, but because of the video, of course, but I feel like I failed myself so hard, man. Like, not being able to control my emotions, my thoughts, feeling so devastated by the time that I was losing and that I was not utilizing to fulfill my vision, drew me back to my negatives. Put me in a position that I was prioritizing the voice in my head, the negative one that was telling me, you can say fuck your problems and forget about them with just lighting a joint, right? Sort of that self-talk with my inner voice that is the wrong one, the one that you shouldn't be hearing. It was plain and simple self-sabotage, because I had quit my routines. I had completely eviscerated the good parts of me. I sent them to oblivion, and I was focusing on the negative ones. I was focusing on the negative things around me and the negative things that I had within. So I believe that's exactly why my depression was so enhanced this time. Because it was not just about what I was going through in the country and the job thing, the restaurant, but it was also the fact that I was focusing every single day on how bad I was, how useless I was. I was telling myself that I should just call it quits, go back to Colombia, feel even worse for failing at this mission that I put myself into, and this task that I gave myself of actually being able to build a better life outside of my country and just basically travel the world making music, because that's how I see myself. I was just existing, doing the bare minimum. I felt like I failed my intelligence, my capacities to be able to adapt, especially like in a new country like the United States. It's capitalism, living paycheck to paycheck, and just overall facing roadblocks. I was like, if I compare these two characters, like the one from the video, the first video, the weed video, and this guy right here that you're looking at, but maybe a couple days ago, because now it's a completely different game, and I'll tell you why. It's like two different people, and this guy right here was not pretty. Like, it was not pretty looking at myself in the mirror during those times. It was insane. I remember when I was writing this part of the script of the article and then adapting it to the YouTube script and talking about this negative inner voice, I remembered Jordan B. Peterson and his book 12 Rules for Life. And it's insane because I'm rereading it right now. And guess what? For those who have read it or are fans or are reading it right now, if you remember which one is the fourth law, you will see why I think this is insane that I'm talking about this right now and that I wrote this about that inner voice, the negative one. The fourth rule for life, according to Jordan B. Peterson, is that you should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday and not to who somebody else is today. Let me say it one more time. You should only compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who somebody else is today. And he dwells into a lot of topics, like a lot of like side topics that completely relate to this. And one of those is that inner voice, that you have two inner voices. The one that is truly aligned with your vision and your truest self and purpose in life, that it's always encouraging you, and that is the one that allows you to look yourself in the mirror and say stuff like one that I've been saying to myself for a couple days in the mirror every morning is like, you're a motherfucking genius and you love yourself. Just that, that's that good voice. But the other one though, like I felt it, and it's in the chapter by Jordan B, tends to be stronger, tends to be way stronger and way more expedient in the way it approaches your psyche, because it's way easier to tap into that one than the positive one. Because the positive one, the results of listening to the positive one are literally delayed gratification. You're not going to feel an instant hit of dopamine, or you're not going to feel nothing instantly from what I'm saying to myself in the mirror, or the affirmations, or having good habits, or listening to that good voice. Like, listening to that good voice, what it's going to do is it's going to make you happy in 10 years when you look back and you're like, wow, I was able to block the negative one for 10 years. Look where it has gotten me. But the other one is stronger and more expedient to tap on, because it reassures like what you are thinking at the time. So I'm depressed. I'm looking at my surroundings, my environment, and I'm like life has completely obliterated me. So I just rather die. So that voice instantly comes in. Yeah, you should just end it, bro. Like, what are you doing? You're not even rapping. You're not even writing. You're not even producing. You're not even polishing your beat skills. Like, you're not doing shit for yourself, man. Just end it. And from that concept, Jordan introduces one that is aim. It's all about where you put your attention, where you put your focus, and where you aim, where you laser focus that red dot. Because my aim was all over the negative stuff, like I just described. But if I turn my aim into the positive things, it starts a chain reaction where I start to feel and experience emotions that are more positive. These must be transformed into positive thoughts, which then will translate into a positive reality that I will be creating day to day. I understood that because, like I said, those 4 months of focus gave me so much knowledge, man. Like I was zoned in. So I understood the theory, but in practice I was trash. And to top it all up, the cherry on top, a week and a half ago, I was in a motorcycle accident. I literally had a near-death experience. I was hit by a car at this intersection. I was going north. They were coming south, but they were going to take a left toward the west. And I'm sorry, toward the east. And went through my green light, and I'm literally getting to the other side of the road, like to the other crosswalk on the other side, on the opposite side, like literally the other street. And my theory is this lady had to be texting, man, for sure, because she was at her red light. My theory is that she didn't even look at the light, or maybe she missed her green light real fast and she didn't even notice. And then when I went through on my green, she was on red. She wanted to still make it, or I don't know what happened, but my theory is that she was texting because I flashed my lights, I screamed, I honked my motorcycle, and nothing. Toward the end was that pivotal moment that literally saved my life, because she swerved a little bit to the left and I did myself too. So it was like holy shit, I can't, like, she's coming like this, I'm coming like this, and we go like this, not even like this, to the same direction in terms of like coordinates, but she took her left, I took a left, but that made us go like opposites. So she kind of like tailgated me, like with the tail of her car. SUV was a Toyota, and I just flew away from my bike, man. Thank God I didn't land on my head. Thank God. The only result of everything was a broken wrist, some scratches here and there. Nothing. It's not even, you can't even see it because I literally scratched it off, but that was it, man. The only messed up thing that literally left a mark on me is that the lady just took off. It was a hit and run. So I do not understand how any human being can go through the thought process of seeing somebody so messed up on the floor. Who knows if that person might die, and just being like, I need somebody to pay for my car. Because that's what she said. She parked her car. A couple guys took me out of the street because I was out of it for like a minute or two. They took me out of the street, and lady approached like the crowd where we were at and said those words, and these dudes went ballistic on her, like, what are you talking about? You almost killed this guy. One of them told her, I saw you go past your light, which was red, and hit him, and now you're telling him that he has to pay for your car. Lady, you're in fault, and you're lucky he's breathing. Right now we have to call the cops and everything. So she's like, okay, let me go get my insurance information and whatnot. Hopped on her car and left instantly. So, and nobody took the play. There were no cameras. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But it was a near-death experience that completely changed my perspective on what I'm going through right now, because I'm alive. I survived. I'm still here. I have my 2 feet, 2 legs. I have my 2 arms. One is broken. Who the fuck cares? I still have it. I have my head. I have my face in perfect condition, man. Thank you, God, for real. Because I'm still alive and I can still pursue my dreams, my identity, impact society, and I can still help people that are just behind me in this process of developing their truest selves. Thank you, God. And you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to be religious at all. I'm not religious at all, but I definitely think there's something out there that is way more powerful than us. I believe in energy a lot, frequencies and whatnot, but it's all about energy. So at that point, literally almost dying, it took me a couple of days to be who you are seeing in this video right now, because of course it was the accumulation of everything that was the cherry on top. I was like, bro, like, what do you want from me? You know, like, do I have to go through this? Because I needed to understand why all of these things were happening to me. And then it clicked, like, maybe I do have to go through this, but I also have a God-given gift that every single human being has, which is being a conscious being. We have consciousness. We can process these things and transform them as if they were energy. So the only thing I had to do was stop and redirect the vessel and continue, bro. It's like Dante in the Divine Comedy. That's the way I started seeing this whole ordeal for me. Because 2023 was that for me. A journey through hell, literally. And people might say whatever they want to say. That there's people going through worse stuff. Believe me, that's the punchline of this video. Literally, the whole video, the whole punchline for the whole thing that I wrote is that, precisely. But still, every person in this world is different. Every single human being is a different universe, especially here. So for me, it was a journey through hell. I lost the love of my life, fucked up massively with my finances. Literally, I'm broke from being very good financially to utter bankruptcy. It was a hell that I had to go through, though, because as I said a couple minutes ago in this video, a journey through hell is something that every single human being should go through at least once in their lifetime. And if you only go through it once, you're lucky. Or maybe not lucky, who knows? But I feel like I've been through this first big hell in my life, in my 20s, because I've never, like, previously I used to be depressed just because it was cool or something like that, or which is a problem in itself, but it was not about like this deep rooted trauma that I had with being sad, with not being able to control emotions and thoughts, being weak, running from my problems, quitting everything, having an addictive personality, especially with weed. It was something I had to go through, because only through this journey is that you can see your deepest, darkest parts. And only through seeing your deepest, darkest parts is that you can face that and then eventually transform yourself into a version of a human being that can actually face God and reach enlightenment and actually evolve. You will also be able to learn the actions that you have to take in order to, number one, not be in hell, and number two, always improve as a human being. Constant improvement and progress. And I believe there's a third one there, that is actually being able to contribute to society. Because when you go through those hard experiences in life, you gain so much clarity, so much enlightenment, and you learn, like, you gather so many lessons and experience that you can actually help somebody that maybe is going through the same thing, or maybe eventually will go through the same thing. And that's the reason why I make these videos like this one. Of course, after this, I'm going to be dwelling into many types of videos that I want to make. I'm going ballistic on my music, but making this type of videos that are just me talking to you guys about how I'm feeling about something and how I battle with depression and how I battle with things that any other human being can go through, eventually will echo in eternity because the internet is eternal. So just one person that finds this or my weed video or any of the trillion videos that I will make till I die, and the music videos and the music that I make, even if one person finds those and gets impacted and like changes a lane towards a more positive path for their life, that's enough for me, man. And understand that God is energy, and I don't want to impose nothing in terms of beliefs, religion, or anything. I just want to give out my point of view and the way I understand this fucking simulation that we're in, this video game. And maybe you can relate, or maybe you can extract something because you've never heard somebody talk like me, or you never heard an idea like one that I'm presenting right now, which is God is energy. You are God. I'm God. My bed is God. My lamp is God. Matter is God. The planets, the universe, everything is God. So once you're able to fully break apart who you were and evolve into a more positive version of yourself, that's when you can face God. That's when you can truly face God. And to me, that is truly looking yourself in the mirror and being like, shit, you did it. You evolved. This is a new version of myself, and I will make the most out of it. I can literally feel it in me right now making this video, and I remember that I felt this exact same fire in me when I was writing the article and turning it into a script for this YouTube video. It's like, to me, writing allows me to exactly pinpoint where I'm at in life, but compounding every aspect: my mental health, my physical health, my soul, my spirituality, my psyche, everything, and hone that into a piece of paper in order to understand where I'm at and where I have to go. So yeah, I'm ready to face God, man. I've been through a lot this year. If you are feeling like you went through a lot as well, reach out to me, man. Send me a message. I'm here for you. You're not alone. And it's all about perseverance and keep fucking going. Because it's all about being able to face God. And like I said, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, that's what's up, my guy. Life is a video game, man. It's the craziest video game I've played. And right now, my contribution to society is going to be through my art, through my music, through my writing exclusively. It's going to be all about the intricacies that are buried deep within the code of this crazy simulation that we live in, this video game. Self-development, the soul, the spirit, psychology, philosophy, all of these pillars of life and existence that humans have abandoned, especially my generation. So I want to keep touching on those, reflecting on my progress of being an artist, being a producer, being a musician, being a writer, a YouTuber, and a content creator for you guys. You will see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything. Hey, man, don't give up on yourself. For real. Do not give up on yourself, because you matter. You matter to yourself. You matter to your future self, because it's you who is going to allow your best future self to exist. So do not give up, man, please. Even if life hits you with a car, literally, just be grateful that you're still alive every single day and you have the opportunity to keep fucking going and pursuing your truest identity and who you want to be and what you want out of this fucking crazy video game called life. And remember, there's probably someone out there that has it worse than you. Think about that when being depressed. Peace and love.